Mohali's WBO Oriental Super middleweight belt. After he won by a 96 to 93, 95 to 94, and 95 to 94 verdict. However, he said that he would be giving the belt back to his opponent in order to ease the tension amidst the territorial disputes between China and the Indian governments. Which, like, I guess they're fighting over the Himalayas. The strained situation began over June, over the mountainous area, and a dispute over the border. So, yeah, I think this is kind of cool.
I mean, I don't know all the details.
There wasn't much. I mean, everything that you see is all there was. There was literally, it was a very short story.
I understand. I'm saying I don't know much of the, I guess, China's political interests right now. I know they do
to rule the world.
I don't know about that.
To make everything for everyone else.
I don't know about all that, but I do know they have a lot of border issues. Like, for example, I'm sure everyone has heard about, Korea right now with the potential for a nuclear weapon. And, one of the biggest problems facing China right now, why they want to stay kind of neutral in it, is because should anything happen to North Korea, should a war begin, they're going to get an influx of refugees. And,
right.
That's, I don't know the numbers. I don't know China's economy or anything, so I have no idea how much of a strain that would be on them.
Right.
It may not be anything at all. It may just be, a fear of refugees and nothing more. But at the same time, it's obviously something they don't want right now, and that's always been China. China has border issues, lots of border issues. But when you're one of the largest countries in the world and, surrounded by a whole bunch of other countries, like, you're probably going to have that. So
I would
the
imagine.
U.S., we got Mexico and Canada, and I think we're pretty good with both of them. Like, we know where our borders roughly are, so. Except for that one time when I think we cheated Canada. Could have swore that was, like, 1800s or something like that.
We cheated Canada?
Yeah. I'm pretty sure it was, like, in the 1800s. I can't remember the exact story, but they had, like, I think it was like a map of our northern boundary, and I can't remember if we used like a different version of the map or like we redrew the line when we were having a border dispute, and we're like, yeah, that's our land. So, and not China, Canada, they're like, yeah, all right, sounds good.
Alrighty.
So, I could be wrong. Now that I think about it, that could be part of National Treasure 1 or 2. But I'm going to say it's actual history, so.
No, it wasn't.
No?
No.
Okay.
Because I love those movies. That was not in there.
Okay, so you know them that well, where you
there
clearly, distinctly remember that not being a part of the
There was no Canadians in National Treasure.
Okay.
Or at least nothing about Canada.
Anyways, no, I do think this is an interesting one, to say the least. I don't know if this is
interesting.
I don't know if this is something that exactly helps tensions, because I don't know how big boxing is between the two nations.
Huge.
But it's huge.
It's huge.
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 Like soccer is to Latin America.
Yes.
Okay.
Just remember, it's huge.
Hopefully, it does some good, though. I mean, I honestly can't say, but I can only hope for the best. Sometimes gestures
that's all
help,
you can
so,
do.
Yeah.
Most of the time, that's all you can do.
I also think it's kind of interesting that how polarizing sometimes figures are in boxing as far as when it comes to politics.
Right.
Because you also had like Muhammad Ali, obviously. Not that I can name anyone else. I don't.
What about
really
his daughter?
Watch boxing, but.
Muhammad Ali's daughter.
Is she a boxer?
Yes.
Yes, she is?
Yes.
I don't know much about her, so not gonna lie, I don't know.
She's on Dancing with the Stars too.
Oh, okay. Very politically active then, I see.
She was.
Um,
That is the foundation of our political beliefs here in America.
is Dancing with the Stars.
Dancing with the Stars.
At this rate, it sure seems that way. But getting off that a little bit, no, I do think that's interesting because it seems that in most of though, admittedly, I don't watch a ton of sports, but it doesn't pop up that often in politics. The most I've heard is that NFL player who protested the national anthem, and I'm blanking on his name. He was, I think, Baltimore Ravens, maybe.
Was he huge?
It was a big deal, yeah. Was it Copernic? Colin? I'm googling. I'm not going to lie. Copernic. Colin Kaepernick? Kaepernick? I'm probably botching that name. But he was a big Black Lives Matter advocate. And then he refused to stand during the Pledge of Allegiance and chose instead to kneel. There's like a whole bunch of controversy over it, which to me, most of it is kind of stupid. Like, just let the man be. But the whole point being, like, this is the first time I've ever heard, like, people being political or getting this worked up about politics in football. So most people just seem to, like, if they do have any involvement, it's always, in their personal lives. It takes more of a backseat.
I don't feel like that's more politics. I feel like that's just more respect for the country. Like, I don't care what's going on in or out or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
There's certain things you still do and don't do. I mean, unless you've got some form of civil war going on, which there's not. Unless that's going on, the only reason that's the only reason you should ever not, whether you kneel and put your hand over your heart, whatever, or salute, but you still need to honor the Pledge of Allegiance because that is in fact the reason that you're able to play football freely and have arguments over political beliefs and things like that. So to me, when it stretches out to people not respecting the flag by taking your hat off and doing things like that, or protesting the national anthem, I don't care what color you are, what race you are, what gender you are, who you are, what you do, where you're from. I don't care. If you're here and you like, if you're here, you honor the Pledge of Allegiance. No ifs, ands, or buts about it. Because without it, because without the U.S. being the way it is, you wouldn't be able to be whatever gender you wanted to be, whatever race you wanted to be, whatever, do whatever you want to do. It's very much a possibility that without it we could be like North Korea. Or we wouldn't be independent. So to me, that's more of a respect for our Constitution, our Declaration of Independence, and the country that we live in that allows us to argue over our political beliefs, box, when we want to play football, make money however we want to, raise a family, shoplift if we, that's what allows us to do it. So when it stretches out to the Pledge of Allegiance and people are trying to be, whether he was trying to be disrespectful or not, but I mean, when it stretches out to that, that's when I object, because you're pretty much crumbling the foundation, or you're pretty much disrespecting the foundation that you're standing on.
Well, that's where I'll defend him a little bit because initially he just sat down during the pledge, and that's why he said, he didn't believe that America, especially with what's been going on lately, what the reason why we had to have a Black Lives Matter movement, he felt that our country doesn't always represent people of color, doesn't always stand up for the minority like it claims to, at least. And yeah, I saw on Tumblr, I'm blanking out on her name, but she did an experiment. This was ages ago, where she separate her students into two categories: blue eyes and brown eye students. So, and essentially it was a practice on discrimination. Her name's Jane Elliott, and basically what she said was she looked in front of this audience and she's like, if any of you, she said something along the lines like, if any of you are okay being treated as a black person in the audience, please stand up. And no one stood up. They were all white. And then she's like, did you hear me? If you're okay being treated like black people are, stand up. And no one stand up. And then she's like, so you must acknowledge that there is a racial problem here in this country. So what are we going to do? But it's like that was her starting point. And that's where, with Kaepernick, I have to agree. It's like as much as we like to think that we're in a very progressive nation, there are, facts to the contrary. And again, he's not insensitive to the other side of the argument. That's why, he changed his position because people did bring that up to him. It's like, it's not just about your political beliefs. When you're protesting Pledge of Allegiance, that can be offensive to some people. And, in this case, they cited veterans. A lot of people have died serving our country. And that's when he started to kneel. So it's, he made the concession where he's like, all right, I don't want to disrespect, what this country is founded on. I don't want to disrespect our veterans, but at the same time, I still believe that I need to make a statement on behalf of myself and other minorities in this nation. And I have to respect that a lot. I think that shows a lot.
I can respect that, but again, the whole point was, I admire him for making a statement. I'm just saying I don't think any statement should be made while we're pretty much honoring our country. After that, if he wanted to, throw up like the whole, what was that? Because there was a guy that did it during the Olympics a long time ago. What's the fist up in the air? You know what I'm talking about?
That's the Black Power movement.
Black Power. So, I mean, even if when they were done, he did that or then he knelt or whatever. At that point, okay, cool. I wouldn't have a shred of problem with that. I would support him 100%. I'm saying during it, if you're trying to, you don't protest something during the national anthem. You can do it before, you can do it after, but not during.
All right.
So that, and like I said, I'm not saying that he's wrong for trying to make a statement or try to make a point. I'm saying he's wrong for trying to make the point during.
You just don't think that time's quite
exactly
appropriate.
Like I said, he can do it before, he can do it after, and he would have my full-fledged support. During is when I have a problem. It's kind of like the people who, don't take their hat off, things like that. And I'm very open to, races and religions and all that. I'm open to all that. I love protesting. I mean, I don't like to protest, but I support people who protest, who want to make a statement. There was all those people at was it the Oscars? Was that the award show that started all the when someone gave a big speech, like a big acceptance speech for some. You know what I'm talking about? Like that year, everybody was making a big speech for some movement. You remember what I'm talking about? I think it started with the girl from the movie The Help.
Ooh, that was a number of years ago. I don't remember that, to be honest.
Anyway.
I wasn't following Oscars back then, so.
Anyway, but it was like either way. But I support that. That's fine.
Yeah.
But like I said, when we're honoring the country that gives us the right to protest whatever we want, that's when I have the problem. Again, before, after, fine. During, it's off limits. You know what I'm saying? It's kind of like, the Congress can't argue while they're, while they're saying the Pledge of Allegiance. I don't care what's going on before or after. During, it's, you do it, you do one thing or two things, and that's it. So, that's my stance. Like I said, when it comes to that's kind of my stance. You honor the flag, and then, whatever you do before or after, if you want to protest before or after, I'm fine. But during is when I have the problem. But back to kind of this, to these guys.
I was gonna say we crossed the country. We made it all about America again. It's about India and China. Sorry, guys.
America. No, it kind of all ties together because they're trying to make a statement. We were talking about making a statement and what you know, what I don't think should be how a statement should be made. Um,